What's up, everyone? Today we have steel MS180c. It's a little tiny saw that I got for free because the person didn't want to pay to repair it. They said that the clutch was bad, and I took a quick look at it, and I pretty much I think it probably needs to be replaced. In addition to that, the carb needs to be replaced, and they did not like the idea of an aftermarket carb, and they didn't like the idea of rebuilding the carb. They wanted a brand new steel. I quoted them the price. They said they would rather just pay for a new saw. Well, I have a carb. It is aftermarket, however. I have a new fuel filter, some lines here, air filter, clutch. I think I have a chain somewhere for that. I don't know if I have something that small. It's 14, 16 inches, probably 14. I don't know. We'll have to measure. I don't know though if I have anything that size though. But at the very end, we'll at least be able to hear this run. So I think the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at that carb situation and the fuel, because that's usually the dead giveaway. Now, something I did do in advance is I did lift up and check the compression. There is compression. As you can tell, this line probably needs to be replaced. We'll probably do that. The compression, though, is a little weird. It's like, I don't want to say gummy, but it's not what I would like. But so far, I've spent like 20 something bucks on a carb, so if it is bad, I'm not too concerned. I will be using that in the future, I'm sure. And if there's noise in the background, I apologize. It's actually not a bad filter. Kind of like that one. That's about the same. So down here, there should be some 5/16 or 8mm, whichever one. Now I know what you're thinking. Why are you doing all this work without testing it first? I don't know. I very well should. It could bite me. But I already have the parts, and I've had this saw for a really long time, and to be honest, if it's not good anymore, I'm not too upset about it. I will just use some of the other parts and on a different saw. Don't want that to get lost. Not that it's that many places for it to get lost, I just don't want it to. Little tiny things like that seem to find a way to irritate you if you don't take care of them immediately. It's not super dirty, unlike that other one that just got done working on. Just make sure the new carb is about the same. It does look about the same. The only thing I don't like about this new carb is that it's non-adjustable. That's where the adjustments should be, I'm assuming. And technically the stock one isn't adjustable either, though. So let's remove a few things here. It's like it's stuck too. Well, that makes that easy. It just came right off. Usually stuff like this likes to fight you, like this choke lever, but this should just come out here. There we go. There we are. So with the exception of the fuel line, which we didn't even check if there was fuel in it, probably should do that. And standard, the person who put this on there last put it on there too tight. My elbow isn't exactly feeling the greatest today, so I'm not going to do it by hand. One of the annoying parts about winter. It looks to be empty. Yes, that's good. How does this recoil even come off? Oh, this whole piece is part of the recoil assembly. Okay. Well, that's no fun. Whatever. Let's put that back. Avoid getting stuff inside there. Yeah. Squeegee ourselves in here real quick and try to get this fuel line off. The fuel line doesn't feel bad. I have a feeling this wasn't an abused saw, it was just an used saw. I'm gonna fiddle with that fuel line real quick. Got that all done. I did have to remove this from its little house though. It just wasn't working out any other way. So this needs to go like so. Just double check everything is the same. Just don't really know how this it's about the same. Yeah, it's an interesting little setup they have going on here. Push this back down, except this little kill tab needs to be up. There we go. So when we pull back on it, it grounds out right there. Seems to be pretty decent. Kind of want to clean that out though. If it's pretty good, I'll clean it out afterwards. Let me see if I can get. I probably should clean it now. Let's put the fuel line on before I do a little cleaning. Hopefully this isn't going to be a giant pain. Knew it. There we go. That was a lucky one. Clean that up a little bit. There we go. I'll put these back on. I mean, technically we could, if we really wanted to, we could try the engine out right now. Probably wouldn't be a horrible idea. You know what? I think that's what we will do. I'm going to put these back on. I know there's a torque spec. We're going to take a look. If need be, I think I have a boot as well. So if our boot is bad, which it didn't really look bad from what I can tell so far, and it's pretty covered, so it's not like people are yanking on it. Could be old, but if the fuel line isn't doing that poorly, I can imagine the boot is probably in fairly comparable shape. So let's put this down. How does this go on? Goes on in the angle, if I remember. Yeah, there's these little things right here. I'm gonna put this on, put some fuel in it, and we'll give it a pull. No idea how many times it's going to take to pull on this, but I realized that I forgot the choke lever, so as soon as I turned off the camera I saw it and I just put it back on, so the choke lever's on there. This is why I'm glad that we only put the carb on. May have a problem. Let me pull on a little bit more. Actually, no, let me put a little oil down the cylinder and see what's going on. I have a real sneaky suspicion I'm going to be needing to replace a few things in here, which isn't fun. Well, I suppose it could be, but it's not something that I really want to do at the current moment. So we're going to take a quick look. Ideally it's quick. Is there another screw I'm just missing? I don't see one. There we go. One side just does not want to come off. Okay. The piston is all the way down. Oh yeah. Look at that. So, I don't know how well you can see that. That piston is completely scraped up. It's going to need a brand new piston and cylinder head. Probably the crank is fine and the rod is fine. I mean, it's moving up and down, so that's good, but it's definitely not going to be a healthy engine right now. So I'm going to take a look, see how much that is for MS180, and if it's not too much, we'll replace it, because I did get this for free, so it's not like I have any money into it, except for I did buy the clutch, but I'm not too worried about that. Clutches are always in need, so we don't have to worry that it will just sit here forever. Yeah, I guess we'll do a little research. Well, we're at a crossroads, and what I mean by that is we're waiting at the crossroads. So I looked it up. You have a wide range of aftermarket kits in there. Wide range. It's pretty elaborate how many, well, extravagant how many there are out there. Having said that, you don't know which one is good. You just straight up don't. Anyway, so you don't know which one is good, and neither do I. I'm not too familiar with a lot of those for steels. I've used a few of them, don't get me wrong, but I'm not really too familiar with them. Mainly because usually the people that buy it give it to me to install. That's happened more often than I care to really admit, but we have a decision. A standard piston, I couldn't really even get the price for the cylinder head. It just, for whatever reason, Steel likes to list the part but never really lists the price. Granted, I didn't go too deep into it. I literally just went a little farther than a quick 10 or 15 minute search, and then at that point I'm like, I don't know. Having said that, I then looked at a aftermarket kit, and one that has very reasonable reviews all said that this kit that comes with both the piston, the cylinder, the connecting rod, the crankshaft, everything comes in a whole assembly, sealed, everything should be ready to install. Was actually on sale. Originally it was $80, and I got it today because of holidays and whatnot, I'm sure, for $55. So I think that's the route I'm going to go. I don't have to deal with anything, don't have to take anything apart, just have to buy it, install it, and call it good. So we're gonna not mess with this anymore today, and we'll just bring you back. Man, this is a horrible design. We'll just bring you back once everything is here. We have a new head. In the meantime, we do have to remove the clutch anyway for the installation of the new engine. It does come with a new boot as well, but I did find the other one. So we will have a fairly complete saw, almost new. Granted, the carb and the piston are going to be aftermarket, but I think it should be fine. It looks like a pretty decent kit. And well, that's just going to be the end. So next time you see the saw, we'll be disassembling it. Now we have to take the clutch or the flywheel off. We might just take off the coil first, actually. It's just one less thing for us to have to worry about at a later point in time. So let's go ahead and just take that off, put that over to there. It's a 1/2 inch nut on here. This should be normal thread. And it was. Very good. So, in general, you don't really want to damage your crank or anything, but since we have a new one, really my main concern is damaging the frame of the chainsaw. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push down. I wish I had something. Here we go. Oh, steel, how you love to make things difficult. There we go. 95% of the time, probably 98% of the time, if you just put the nut on there, put a couple threads down on it, and give it a good whack, it's not going to do anything. You're going to be fine. So even if you didn't have a new engine to pull, you're just taking the flywheel off for whatever reason, maybe you're putting a new seal in, who knows, that's a good way. Next, I need to take off this little clamp, which may be easier after I remove the engine bolts. There's already one missing. Huh. That one down there is missing. I don't remember even taking that one out. That's odd. Or maybe I did, I just don't remember. So I'm going to take off the 4, but I need to take off this piece next. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to struggle with that real quick, and I'll bring you back. So I realized that I don't have to. I guess take out this one, and then this little piece will just slide back and forth enough for me to gain access to the screws. It's just a real pain to take this off. So this is the 4th and final one. So technically, when we pull up on the cylinder and pretty much everything, it should come out with minimal issues. We're caught on something over here. There's a the boot is not wanting to come off very well. That's okay. Just push that off to the side a little bit. I could definitely understand why they made this all in one piece. Okay. So there's the old one. Now, just need to put in the new one. Let's take a quick gander, make sure everything's the same. Mounting holes appear to be the same. All that appears to be the same. I think we're good. So, I have to be careful. This little gear right here for the oiler, I'm gonna spend a little time. I'm gonna get this cleaned up a little bit more and make this a little easier. I'm just gonna pop it back on, put the screws back in, which this is something I do want to check on. I know some of these aftermarket kits like to be a different thread. Is that the right screw? There we go. Here's at least some of them. And I do believe we do have a different thread. So there's our hiccup right there. Good thing we checked this. Actually, that goes there. This one does not. And actually, no. That one goes there. This one does not. That is no fun. And really don't feel like having to tap anything today. I'll just double check that I have the right screws. Yes, I do. So we have to tap. I'm going to figure out what those are. I may just figure out what's already in there and get a different screw and put it in there. I don't know. I'm going to do a little exploring. Everything's installed. Put some new M5 bolts. They were the same size, maybe a little bit longer than these. Put some lock washers on them, so should be good to go. I also put a little bit of blue Loctite, not red, because I do want to take this off eventually, perhaps, if I need to. I don't want to deal with red, but blue will keep them in place and it won't be hard to take off. So from here forward, we just have to put it back together. I did put some marble down both intake ports and the top of the cylinder, mainly for the fact that I have no idea when the last time this was oiled or how long it's been sitting on a shelf on the other side of the planet. So I think I'm just going to put it all back and we'll give it a try, but you'll just see it put back together, or maybe you'll see the process, who knows. Okay, got it done. Let's see what the test is. This is usually a good test for compression. Barely moving, if at all. That's good. Let's give it a try. So I thoroughly expect this to smoke like a freight train. Beware. Maybe a little dry. Let's see. I need to add a little idle to it. A couple things of special note about this saw. This is the boot. This section, and this is the old engine, by the way. This section is on the like a piece of plastic that goes over the where like the carburetor's mounted. In here, and here is the carb. See this little hole? That hole goes directly in there, and if you can tell, if I spin over the engine, so now the piston is up, goes all the way in. That is a vacuum port. Basically, this little hole connects, and then that goes right here. Right there, it takes those pulses and moves like a fuel pump in a way. So if you don't put this in right, and the boot is this little piece right here isn't actually in this little designated slot, it's not going to run. I think that was the problem, because I started looking at it. It appeared that it was a little off. So I think that it just wasn't getting enough fuel. That's what was happening. Secondly, something I didn't really show before, this little ridge, you can tell, had a little clip on it. That clip kind of stops the, let me get the other one. I think I have another one in here, but it stops the worm gear. I don't know where the other, oh, here it is. Here's the old one. Stops this worm gear from touching the actual like seal and everything. So that little clip will keep the worm gear for the oiler like right about there. So if you have a lot of play, you might have forgot that clip, because what will happen is that will sink down, and then everything from your clutch to your clips, everything will be sunken down a little bit, and it's going to shake off. So now that we know that, the engine's put together, let's give it a try. I have a feeling it's going to run fast. When I was looking at the reviews on the carb, it said it was kind of running fast, so I might have to lower it, but you know, it's an easy idle adjustment. Okay, let's give it a try. Well, maybe not. Now let's give it a try. I think the choke is on. Let's see. Choke is on, okay. And chain could be a little looser. Okay, so that was the problem. Just wasn't getting a good vacuum port. So I think there's also something weird going on with this fuel tank. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So what can we say? Well, that little engine, while I don't really know, seems to be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that idle for about 5 minutes. And then once it's done idling, I want to give it some time to kind of, you know, seat the reins a little bit, wear itself into where it's going to rest, and just generally get it up to temperature and just running. So I'm going to do that, and then once it's done, I'll bring back. Okay, there you have it. So I have a log or two man cut, but it's raining and I don't really want to do it in the rain. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait for that. But for now, I'm gonna call it a quits, because even if they're, I mean, what are you gonna see with me cutting? I can't really adjust it. It's a non-adjustable carb. Even the other one I came off of it was like that. But other than that, that little engine, the little kit came with everything: crank, cylinder, everything, seals, all that. Seems to be doing pretty good. So that was, I don't remember, it's been so long. I'm gonna say 60 bucks, $60. Chain, I believe, was like 22. Carb was also about 25, I believe, when looking back at it. So let's round that up to 50, 60, 110. So for 110 bucks, completely new engine, new chain, came with new air filter. The plug was still good. Fuel line was still good. Everything seemed to be fine. It's a complete saw. The oiler appears to be working. I see some streaks of oil when I aim the chain down. On a side note, you're never going to see that if you just let it idle with the brake on, and the clutch needs to move. So be aware of that. Yeah, it seems like it's running good. So that little kit seems to be a good idea. So if you have a, what's the numbers again? Oh yes, MS180c. And you see those little kits online. The one I got specifically, I can't really find anymore. I'm sure they're all the same, but it said it was a full kit. It wasn't the cheapest one. There was a cheaper one. I think the cheapest one I found was like 40. That seemed a little sketchy, but I also got mine on sale. I think originally it was 80, but we want to make sure it's coated. That's important, because if it's not going to last long. It's never going to run right to begin with. It's going to run good for like 30 seconds and then be crap. So I'm going to set this up. If you have any questions, definitely put a comment below. If you like it, put a thumbs up. Definitely keep on watching and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101. I'll see you on the next video. Have a good day.